Hello! I'm doing some knitting while I'm chatting to you today. I've been wanting to vlog for a little while. What is going on over there? But I just basically haven't wanted to get my tripod out because it's been packed away under some stuff, and it's been too difficult to try hold my phone still because my camera is currently with my brother, so I don't get that nice digital steadying. And it's all just been a bit of a faff, but I've dug the tripod out now and I'm here to just give you a little brief update on what is going on. So I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if you ever actually saw my room in the other house, but I'm not in the other house anymore, I've moved. This is the, I think I counted it out, eighth time that I've moved in the life of doing plutonium muffins, which feels like a lot. I feel like a lot of people don't ever move that much in their entire lives, so it'll all change again. I did say in one of my previous vlogs, blogs, live streams, I can't even remember what now, that I'd be doing some destashing. I've managed to fit a lot more into this room than I thought I would be able to, so I probably won't be doing such a large destash, but I have got hundreds of books, and I've, at the moment, at the bottom of my bed, I'm not going to show you because it's a bit of a mess down there, I've got a load of books that I'm going to be giving away at some point over the next year because I can't afford to post them all in the same week. That would bankrupt me. I'm going to rethink the year of giveaways as well. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that because what I'm finding now is that it's always the same people who are entering, which is lovely, and I wouldn't mind giving them the patterns all the time, but they're starting to email me and say we don't want any more patterns, we already have too much to make, so I might have to rethink and I might have to start making these pattern books part of the year of giveaways. Anyway, I'll figure that one out and let you know. So what else has been going on really? There's not loads. My cross stitch hasn't progressed at all. I'm not even going to bother to show you. I can see it right now, and I can see that even the strand of floss that was hanging down waiting to be stitched in hasn't been stitched. I moved a week ago today. It's currently Friday evening and I've taken some time to settle in. There's still a bit of stuff to do at the other house and just haven't had time for stitching. I have started a new knitting project, but it's just garter stitch. It's a really easy knitting project, so I thought it was something that would just keep my hands busy while I was sitting around in the evenings. I haven't been doing loads of sitting down. I've got really obsessed with climbing recently. So when I was a teenager, I did a lot of climbing, sort of bouldering, like on walls, and then I lived on Dartmoor pretty much, so we used to go climbing outdoors as well, and my brother and I were really into rope climbing. I'm not so much into rope climbing now because I haven't got a climbing partner who is a rope climber, but I have loads of friends who are really interested in doing bouldering, so I'm sure a lot of you have no idea what I mean by climbing. So it's like a climbing wall, and bouldering is where you don't go high enough that you need a rope. It focuses much more on your sort of strength, and it's a lot more reachy. Like for me, especially because I'm quite short, I have to like stretch quite far and it involves a lot of balance and all that stuff. I'm covered in bruises because I keep like whacking the walls and my legs are a state. I'm just so bruised, but it's lovely. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm doing that like 3 or 4 times a week, and my fitness is improving as well. You can't really see because of my posture, but I'm getting a bit stronger and my arms are getting a bit more toned, which is lovely. And my housemates, a couple of them are into climbing as well, so we're all going tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. It is so nice to have, like, I'm in a massive house. There's 8 of us, and everybody's interested in different things. There's a couple of crafty people. There's lots of sports obsessed people, which I like because I have been majorly obsessed with sports for the last few months. It's nice to just be really active. I went and played squash for the first time in a really long time tonight. My studying is not really going at the moment. I've had to take a short break just because there's a few timing issues, but I'm going to get back onto that in April, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like, work is work. I mean, who really loves work? But I really do enjoy studying, and I also feel like it's good that I'm bettering myself, so I'm looking forward to getting back to that. And sometimes in the evenings now I'm looking at my books and thinking, oh, maybe I should do a bit of revision, which is really weird. It's weird to do that for fun, isn't it? But I don't mind. I've got time, and it'll benefit me in the future. Tonks. I know a lot of you are going to be worrying about Tonks. Tonks is fine. If you started watching my YouTube videos a couple of years ago, you might remember Farm Friday, where Tonks and I were living on my parents' farm, and we were both very, very much enjoying the freedom. Tonks has gone back, not to the same farm, they moved, but very, very similar place. Still on Dartmoor, still able to go out and do everything that she wants to do. She's been there for about a month now. She's very, very happy. I haven't seen her. I'm going down on Sunday to see her for the first time since I dropped her off. And by all accounts, she's just enjoying herself a lot. Mum and Dad keep finding small animal body parts around the house, and she's taken up residence in, the family have got a big flock of guinea fowl. She's taken up residence in the guinea fowl house because there's lots of rats in there who go and scavenge up all the food, and she thinks that she's like now the chief rat keeper awayer, which I think is good. The whole time that we've been in Bristol, I've had them begging me to take her down so that she can sort the rats out, so that's really good. And I am getting the odd photo now and then from Mum and Dad, which I'm putting on her Instagram. I'll make sure the link is in the description box down below, but I think it's Tonksy Tonks or Tonksy_Tonks. I can't remember exactly which one. And yeah, she's just having a lovely time. There's the 2 dogs there as well. There's no sheep anymore, the sheep are gone. But there's the 2 dogs, Chase, who is a little sheep, he's a grown-up now, sheepdog, and Kariba, who is a Labrador. And Tonks just completely rules the roost. She is definitely queen of the castle. If you want to see videos of the 2 dogs when they were puppies, they're on my YouTube, so I'll pop a couple of links to those videos. I miss the Farm Friday, and I think if I go down a lot more I might start doing it. It won't be Farm Friday quite because I haven't got the sheep anymore, but something to do with being down on Dartmoor, and especially if I go climbing. Yeah. The one thing about the climbing as a stitcher is that my hands are ruined, so I don't know if you can see, I've got a blood blister there, and you probably can't see that they're sort of covered in calluses now, because when you're climbing on probably normal rock as well, but on the artificial walls, they're really rough and your hands have to be quite, like, your skin gets ripped quite easily if you're not careful. I'm sorry if that was a bit graphic for everyone. So you have to be quite careful about not over moisturising, because if I moisturise too much and keep my hands too soft, then the climbing is difficult. So it's a bit of a swings and roundabouts situation, because like now the rough parts on my hands are catching on my yarn, but I find it worth it. I also wanted to talk a little bit about my mental health. If you've been watching for a while, you might remember that I did this sort of coming out series about my mental health a couple of years ago. I have taken a couple of those videos down because I talked about stuff like suicide, which as a training professional I can't really afford to have them up. The videos are still up, and the links, you just have to have the link. It doesn't like come up as a publicly available video, so I will put the links in the description box down below if you'd like to watch them. They don't make for easy watching, so, but they are still available, so if you click on the link you can go to them. But anyway, my mental health for the last couple of years has been so much better. Moving to Bristol was so good for me. I loved Devon and I loved living on the farm, but it was a bit isolated, and I didn't really have very many people my own age there. So moving to Bristol was amazing because I just met so many lovely people and I made some really nice friends, and I managed to get involved in all sorts of things that I wouldn't have got involved with in Devon. I joined a spinning guild. I met Ricky, who as you all know has been amazing and is one of my very best friends. And it was all peachy for a while, and then last year I started this new job, or started training to be an accountant. It's not really a new job anymore, and there were a few problems at home, and I started sort of struggling with that a little bit, and then I started drinking a little bit too much. Not an alcoholic by any means, but going out a couple of times a week and just having a little bit too much to drink, which if you have dodgy mental health, I mean it's not great anyway, but if you have slightly dodgy mental health it can be difficult, because sometimes if you have, like, even if you have just a pint or a glass of wine or something, especially with my tendency to panic attacks, I could either have a really good night where I'd be really happy and really bubbly and I'd be having a really great time and everybody that I was with really enjoy that Corrie because she's fun, or, and this has been happening a lot more recently, I'd be really withdrawn and quiet and angry, and I'd be obsessed with my phone, like checking my messages all the time, checking for messages from people that I didn't necessarily need to be hearing from and messaging them, and then having panic attacks. And I have talked about it in the past, but for me a panic attack is where I get very short of breath, I start hyperventilating, I get like this really, like, you know, when you're really, really tired and you can't think or concentrate on anything, almost like my brain was getting really hot. That starts happening, and I have like heart palpitations, and if you have a look at the data on my watch, which measures my heart rate, it goes crazy, and I tense up and I start like curling up into a ball, and I find it really hard to like untense myself and straighten myself out, and crying and just a bit hysterical. And quite often the only thing that can sort of bring me out of that is just either medication, so beta blockers, which I get from a doctor, or I would go in the shower and sit in the shower for a little while. Water, I find water really calming, or being with people who can cope with it. I've got a couple of really good friends who I'm very, very lucky to have, who basically would just like deal with it and like just let me sort of work through it without pressurizing me too much, and then when it was done just be there for me, which it really is all that anybody else can do. Like, yeah. So that has been worse in the very recent future, especially with the move, but it is getting better. And like this time last week I was a shivering wreck in my room by myself, like, oh my god, I've moved into a house full of people I don't know, and I'm in a strange place, and I don't know what's going to happen to my life, and I still don't really know what's going to happen to my life, but I'm already feeling much more able to cope with it, and much less overwhelmed by the fear that my mental health is going to take over again, which can be something that kicks off a panic attack if you sort of, you start feeling a bit low, and then the fact that you're feeling a bit low can get to you, and then you suddenly are like, oh, I'm gonna have a panic attack. Yeah, so I think it's all sort of going upwards. I'm always in close contact with my doctor. I have regular checkups, and well, not so regular recently. Once every 3 or 4 months, but like I went back this week and I just touched base and was like, you just need to know that this has happened, and they're not concerned at all. I'm not concerned either. I don't think I'm going to go. I think that this is just stress, and I overreact to it because I've had really bad times in the past, but this is just a normal person going through normal, hard, difficult things, and I'll be able to cope with it because you just get through it. So there we go. I hope that sort of explains a little bit, and also, I don't know, if you've not come across my particular form of anxiety before, helps to explain the odd reference I make to it now and then. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm feeling very creative at the moment. I'm knitting for the first time in a long time, and I've also been blogging. You can go check out the blog. I don't know what that accent was, but I recently completed a cardigan for a little baby who is due at the beginning of April, and some booties, and one of those babies was just born yesterday, so there's a new little baby in the world that I have created something for. And I've got plans for Stitch Mania. I haven't really got involved in FlossTube for a little while, but I do have plans for Stitch Mania. I'm thinking along the lines of daily live streams. I don't know how good an idea that is, but if you have thoughts, then let me know. And please do feel free to get involved in the year of giveaways. It's not being particularly consistent at the moment, and I can't promise it's going to be consistent, but I'll keep on trucking away at it, and I'll keep on trying to update you, and I'll stay in touch. And as always, the best way to probably keep up to date with what is going on a day-to-day basis is Instagram. I update my Instagram story regularly, and I post on Instagram more regularly than anywhere else. I don't know why, I just really love the platform. So if you've got Instagram and you want to go check that out, then please do head on over. I'll make sure the link is in the description box down below. And if you don't want to miss any of the live streams that I do occasionally, then if you click the little notification thing, it should send you a little pop-up when I'm about to do one, and then I always put on my social media when... Right, I've got to go. Bye. It's the next day. I had to go last night because my housemate and I went out for a drink and he came and knocked on the door. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it answered a few questions and also just gave you a little bit more information, and I'm not sure when I'll be back, but it won't be too long and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!